Hi, I'm Dana, and I'm someone who very much finds the social aspect of being autistic to be the biggest struggle and the thing that I just makes my life very difficult to lead. And it's something that I don't think that people really think about far enough into a lot of the time. I'm sure that I've overthought it a lot because it's my issue, but I also just don't think that people realise how incredibly social just most aspects of being a human person are. And I understand why. I get the whole like human beings are social creatures, but as someone who's not a social creature, it makes it really fucking tough. So I really wanted to like focus in on some of the specific parts of life where I think that me being autistic and really struggling to socialise and really struggling with social skills has a very negative impact, to be honest with you. And I'll try and keep it like upbeat and fun or whatever, but like it's the hard parts, you know, it's the bits that really suck. So the first one's the one that I find most frustrating, which is that I so often feel like I'm asking a question. I mean, I literally am asking a question, and I feel like the response I get is to a different question than the one I'm asking. You know, like I script everything. I've prepared my questions in my head. I've prepared the way that I'll say it if they don't understand me properly the first time. And I go through all these different phrases and all these different ways that I try to ask the question. And I just continue getting responses that feel like they answer the question that I'm actually asking. You know, like I'm not getting the reply that I need. I'm not being given the information that I'm actually asking for. And I don't know what it is I'm supposed to say to actually get to the point of getting that information. The other people like don't seem to understand that they're not answering the question I'm asking. And it's one of those things where obviously this is something that can affect friendships and relationships as well, but I find that it's often happened the most when I'm in like the really anxious positions where I'm like, I need to get paid, I don't know how I'm gonna get paid, I need to pay my council tax, I need to pay this bill and I don't know how to pay it, you know, things like that. And I'm saying like I don't know how to physically pay it, and they're like, oh well, if you haven't got the money, and I'm like, no, I have the money, it's sat here, I just want to give the money to the person I need to give it to. And they're like, oh well, if you need this other thing, and it's like, no, I am you know. And I'm very, very aware that it happens often enough that it's my communication flaw, it's me not communicating and not asking the right thing, but I have no idea what the fucking right thing is to ask, you know? And I feel like being like, listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Like I've very specifically chosen these words to ask the thing that I'm trying to ask. Listen to them. But I'm also very aware that they are listening to them and we're on two different parts of the same fucking book or whatever, you know, like there's a piece of paper between us and we're not getting through to each other. And I also had those types of situations in jobs where I'd be like, well, what do I need to do next? And they'd be like, well, what have you already done? And I'd be like, I've done this and this. And they'd be like, well, just do the next thing. And I'd be like, what is the next thing that needs to be done? And they'd be like, well, the continuation of the other things that you've done. And I'd be like, I don't know what you want from me, I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of my questions are also treated like they're really stupid and like I shouldn't need to be asking, which brings me to my next point, which is that I miss obvious context, the things that everyone else seems to just pick up on and be aware of in every situation. I haven't got that context, I haven't picked up on that stuff. It's not, I don't understand what you're looking at and finding and seeing to figure this stuff out. So I'm in situations where I'm really confused and I don't know what's going on, and everyone else knows exactly what's going on and seems to think that I'm an absolute idiot for not knowing what's going on, or gets really annoyed and frustrated because I don't know what's going on, because it's stuff that should be obvious and it's just not to me. And you might have seen the TikTok that's been going around. That was what prompted this thought for me. There was a TikTok where someone used the metaphor of like, you've got a room and there's 100 people in there, and some of them are neurotypical and some of them are autistic, and everyone's been given a number between 1 and 10 and told to round it up or down, so everyone's number is going to be like 5, 0 or 10, but the autistic people haven't been told that, so everyone else is like, oh, my number's 5, and the autistic person's like, oh, my number's 7, and everyone's like, no, it's 5 or 10, and they're like, no, it's 7, I've been told, this is the one fact I know, it's 7, and they're like, no, it's not, it's 5 or 10. And I feel like that is a really, really accurate metaphor, because it is a case of like, everyone else just seems to know what's going on and what they're supposed to do and what needs to be done and how to say things and how, like, they just seem to know. And I'm just floundering and I haven't got a clue, and I ask and I try and figure it out and like, it just never goes right. I just don't have a clue. And it ties into my last point, because it's those types of situations where the more I ask questions and the more I try and gain the context and the more I try and figure it out, the more I just feel like I'm pissing off everyone around me and everyone's just getting more and more annoyed. And it just feels like it's impossible to actually gain the context and ask questions and figure it all out without people just getting really annoyed that I can't figure it out in the first place like everybody else can. And that brings me to my next point, which is a lot of people don't experience like sensory difficulties, or when they do, it's when there's like a big sensory thing going on, you know? Like, fair enough, clubs and concerts and things can get too loud for anyone, but I've had the times that I'm just sat in the job centre and the lights are so bright that I have an absolutely splitting headache that I cannot deal with, and I cannot focus on anything but how much my head hurts because these lights are so fucking bright and they're buzzing and it's too much, and I can't focus on what anyone's saying and I can't deal with it. And I'll give that the job centre I go to, the people are quite well trained, so when I've been like that, they've been like, oh, a sensory issue, okay, we can't turn the lights off, do you want to leave? And I've been like, yes I do, thank you, bye. But in a lot of other situations when I've had that type of thing, like especially when I was in school, it was a case of, well, no one else is being bothered by it, no one else is reacting to this thing, no one else can hear the electricity buzzing in the walls and now can't think of anything else but that, you know? Everyone else is fine. Like, I can't tell you how many job interviews I've been to where I've had to ask them to just repeat and repeat and repeat a question and gotten it on like the 4th or 5th repeat because there's some sort of background noise, and it's not particularly loud, but it's all I can hear. I can't focus on anything else that's going on. And similarly, I've had the Zoom calls where people have been in a coffee shop when they're trying to like interview me, or like I had a therapist that was in a coffee shop while doing my therapy session once, and it's a case of like, you have background noise and I can no longer hear a single thing that's going on, but everybody else can. Anybody else would be fine with it. Everyone else it works fine. And as much as I have the awareness of like, oh, it's because I'm autistic, it's a sensory issue, of course the holistic people aren't experiencing my autistic sensory issue, it still brings up the level of just like straight up invalidation when people are just like, oh well, no one else is dealing with that. And along with that comes like the sort of like social isolation and social ostracization and things like that, because I don't want to put myself in those incredibly awkward and difficult situations where I'm having all these like sensory difficulties anyway, and then I'm also having to try and not be rude, try to make sure that I'm still participating in whatever I'm trying to do, and it just feels completely impossible. I, however, don't often find myself in these types of positions because I can't chase up or attend appointments a lot of the time. I'm currently getting all sorts of letters from people that have been chasing me up for referrals at my doctor's, because I have my best friend's number down as my carer at my doctor's. We're trying to get a power of attorney in place so they can just take my calls and deal with them, because I cannot do phone calls. And I've been very vocal about this to everybody that should need to know, and I still just keep getting phone calls that I might be able to answer. I might pick up and say hello and listen to who is there, and then I can't get any words out. I can't reply to them. I can't tell them what's going on. I just hang up. And like, that's when they're calling me. If I need to phone up and make an appointment, that's not happening. Like, it's just not. I can't do it. You know, I spent many years being like, oh, I can, it's hard, it's tough, but I can do it. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, when it's taking you 3 weeks to phone up for the appointment, you've phoned 3 times because the first 2 times you didn't fucking figure out how to speak, and the 3rd time you managed it because you had your whole script that you've spent days preparing. Like, that's not being able to do it, you know? It's doing what you've got to do in the moment, but it's not being able to do it. And I will say that like the support and various appointments and things that I've been offered haven't been great, but it is a case of like, I would need support to access some of the support that I'm being offered, and I don't have it. I can't do it. And especially being in the position that I'm in within my life and in the UK, a lot of the support that I'm offered is very job focused, and I understand why. But it's a case of like, okay, you want me to come into this club to like get ready to go to work when like I can't make a phone call to tell you that I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm so anxious. Like, what work skill are you teaching me that gets around the fact that I can't live my life without a job already, you know? That got a bit of like a different space, but like that's you know, a good part of the inspiration behind this video is the fact that I don't feel like I'm able to do a whole bunch of things due to my social issues and my inability to like socialise and the like. And that's part of my diagnosis. Like, it's not me being antisocial, it's not my personality trait. Like, that is a part of me being autistic. I can't really, you know, I can't do anything about it. I keep fucking trying, I'm forever working on it, but nothing's changed. I'm still not good at socialising and doing the social things that I need to do. And it does feel like a lot of the time I have to be able to do the things I can't do in order to get any sort of like support or anything. I just can't do it, you know? And my very last point that I wanted to bring up after all of that and within all of that is that, like, as someone who makes these types of videos, I obviously get like a fair share of shitty, horrible little comments, but I think most shittiness online comes from misunderstanding and lack of empathy, to be honest with you. But I think the thing that people really don't understand is that, like, I'm not saying I can't do something because I think it's like quirky and cute and like makes me like special and unique or whatever. Like, I'm saying I can't do it because I can't do it. It will result in a meltdown. It will be me like crying and throwing up and physically not being able to remain in that space. You know, like, I've had the job interviews where I was too anxious to go, but my partner at the time talked me into it and was like, no, you can do this. And I'd be like, no, yeah, I can do this. And then I'd get there and I couldn't fucking do it. And now I'm throwing up when like they're calling my name for the interview and I'm in their bathroom throwing up and they can hear me gagging, you know? Like, it's not a fun little thing of like, I get a bit anxious but can push through if I really try. It's a case of I get really fucking anxious and I try my best to push through and then I have a massive autistic meltdown because it's all too much and I'm way too overwhelmed and I cannot do it. You know, it's the constantly trying to push through and just trying to get it done and just, you know, think about how much easier it'll be once I've done it this first time. Think about how much easier it'll be if I just get it done. Oh, think how proud I'll be. I'll be able to do this and I'll be able to do... It doesn't work. I can't do it, you know? Like, it's one of those things where I'm constantly like, being autistic wouldn't be a diagnosable thing if I could just push through it and not have to deal with any of the things that come with being autistic, you know? Like, we just wouldn't be diagnosing it if it was just something I needed to push through and not think about. You know, I'm sure plenty of the people that say that are other autistic people, and you know what? It's fabulous that you've been able to push through and do it. I'm really happy for you. I really hope that you're able to do that while maintaining your own physical and mental well-being. I hope that you don't hit burnout. I think it's brilliant you've been able to do it. I can't. I'm a different person. That's fine. But yeah, they're the things that I wanted to touch on in today's video. I know it's like a little bit disjointed and a little bit but I do think that like there's just a much more nuanced and complex sort of conversation to be had around autistic people's, or at least this autistic person's, like social abilities and the things that I find difficult in regards to like socialising. And I think there's a lot more to socialising and being like social creatures than people like to act like it is. Like, people really act like it's just socialising with friends and the rest of it's just not there. But like 99% of interactions that you have are going to be with other people, and that is socialising, whether you're friends with them or not, you know? Like, me shaking as I hand over my change to the cashier in Asda is still a social interaction, you know? But that is the end of the video. So as always, if you wanted to subscribe, that'd be really cool, because we are over 10,000 subscribers now, which is really wild and crazy and cool. So I think probably the next video after this is gonna be like a little like 10,000. It's insane. It's so weird. But yeah, the next video will probably be my little 10,000 subscriber Q&A video. So if you've got any last minute questions, drop them down below. They can be about anything. I don't mind. If I don't want to answer, I just won't put it in, you know? So if you wanted to ask something, that'd be super cool. If you wanted to subscribe, if you wanted to like the video, they also are both things that help me out in the algorithm, I believe. If you have any like further thoughts and opinions or the things that I haven't mentioned or thought about in this video, I'd also love to hear those. I really enjoy getting comments. It's very nice. And as always, you can also follow me over on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see more content from me. And you can also find me over on Patreon or Ko-fi if you wanted to donate to me monetarily. There's no pressure, you don't have to, it's all good. But it's very, very nice when people do. So yeah, that's the video. You haven't seen him, but Otis has of course been here the whole time. He hates it when I do that. But he's so baby. So whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.